Spiro is at the zoo and sees two of his favorite animal exhibits, the whales and tigers. He sees a picket fence that says he is 160 feet away from the tigers. He knows the two exhibits are 300 feet away from each other. He takes out his lucky protractor and finds that the angle between him and the two exhibits is 110 degrees. Since Spiro is very lazy and only has time for one more exhibit, which one should he go to?
So, right here, we have me, the cats, and the whales. We know that the distance between the cats and the whales is 300 feet, and we know the distance between me and the cats is 160 feet. I don't know the angle for the cats, so I put a z there, just a random variable. I put a y here, random variable because I don't know that, and an x here because I've got no clue what that says. So, we're going to do law of sines, because that can help me get the y, the z, and the x, and see which one is a closer walk for me. So I'm going to do the sine of 110 divided by 300, the opposite, equals, well, I can't do z and x because there's no numbers there, so I got to do y and 160. So I'm going to do the sine of y over 160. Little cross multiplication all up in here. And 300 times the sine of y will equal sine of 110 times 160. So, you will get 300 times the sine of y will equal about 150.35. That's rounded to the second. And then you do divided by 300. And then you're going to get about 0.5. That equals sine y. So you got to do the sine inverse. Right? You got to do that sine inverse. So you're going to get y equals the sine inverse of 0.5, and that's going to come out to be 30.08 degrees. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, that's the only degree measure it could be. But we got an ambiguous case here because it was angle side side or whatever, you know. Angle side and side. Angle side side. Or side side angle. Whatever one you want to think about. So we got to do 180 minus that 30.08. And it turns out that we will get about 149.92 degrees. But if we add this to 110, that's more than 180, so can't do that. So now we have to do this 300.08 degrees is the degree for y. However, we want to find z, so we got to do, I'll move this up here now, because there's a little bit more space all up in here. You got to do 110 plus that 30.08, and that should equal about 140.08. Now we got to take 180 and we got to subtract that because there's 180 degrees in the triangle, so we want to find z because now we know that this is 30.08 degrees. And then we're going to find out that this is about 39.92 degrees is angle of z. Now we want to find x, correct? So we're going to take a sine of, you can do either sine of 30.08 over 160 equals the sine of 39, which is 39.92 over x, because we don't know that. But I like to make it a little easier for myself, so I'm going to go sine of 110 over 300. Again, you could use the sine of 30.08 over 160, but I'm choosing this because, well, it's a little easier and nicer numbers. A little cross multiplication all up in here. You're going to get x times the sine of 110 equals 300 times the sine of 39.92. Well, you'll find out, plug this into your calculator, and I'm just so smart that I know it off the top of my head. So it's just going to be 192.52. That's again rounded. And then since x is this times sine to the 110, you got to divide that to get x alone. And then that's going to turn out that x is about 204.87 feet. Well, if this is 204.87 feet and this is only 160 feet, obviously 160 is less than 204, which means that I have less walking distance to the cats, and that's why I would walk to the cats.
Spiro might have missed some important steps going through his process. He's really not that smart and can pull all those numbers out of his head in a second. So here's all the work that we did to solve this problem.